Hello, and welcome back to Fun Shots Spoken Magic. Uh, Welcome to this double feature that we've got going tonight. Spoken Magic is a game that I wrote that is similar-ish to Ancient Stones in that it's a card prompt game, and that's pretty much where the comparisons end. It's certainly meant to have drama, so we'll probably have more of that. Whereas I feel like Ancient Stones wasn't really meant to have drama, it's just that we played it. um, but yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, because these will be separate videos, I just want to really quickly explain. Hi, I'm Dylan. I use he/him pronouns. Jess.
I am Jess. I use she, her pronouns.
And Julie.
I am Julie. I use she pronouns.
And we don't know what characters we're playing yet, because we
Whoa.
haven't gotten there yet. Um,
Zap.
so let me see if I correctly set up the stream for us switching over. Yeah, I kind of did. Looks okay. We've got chat in there twice, but whatever. We'll roll with it. So we've got these handouts here. Julie, you're gonna need a pen and paper for that. These are taking
Here.
the place of index cards. So if Jess, if you wanna use the one that's there, you can use that for you. Spoken Magic is a card prompt game with dice, because I'm allergic to writing games with that dice apparently. No, because I like the idea of us having, physical objects that we put into a thing. So the general idea of Spoken Magic is that every person in the game, every player is a wizard or a sorcerer or a witch, some powerful magic being. But in order to unleash that power, in order to shape it into something and use it, you need to use magic words. So we will all have our own magic words that not only will be different in that they are like literally different words that make difference, or that are made up of different sounds, but also each of us will have an arcanum attached to our words that defines the nature of those words, at least to start. Then we will, as after we've made our characters, we will go through, go across this land, meeting new people, seeing new things. But every time we go somewhere, there will be a problem. And that problem can only be solved with magic. And one person technically can cast a spell on their own, but you can only ever contribute one word to a spell. And the more words you have, the more likely you are to succeed. So in order to solve the problems of this land, we will have to work together, share our words with each other, and use that magic to hopefully solve the land's problems. So let's get to it. Let me see. What do I say is the first step? You need a name and you need your words. You need a bunch of materials. We're playing mostly digitally, so we don't necessarily need all those. Play begins with each character writing down a sorceress name. So let me think.
I really want to call back to a conversation from earlier today, but I do not think it is appropriate to be Dark Kevin.
I am Dark Kevin.
Okay.
I am Thralmar the Unbroken.
Whoa.
Sorceress name, dude.
All right.
It says it it's bolded in the document, so you know it's important.
Hmm.
Clarity.
All right.
What constitutes a sorceress name? Just name the,
It's any
Name.
name that you think is sorceress.
Okay.
It's left intentionally vague. There are a couple moments of that in here.
All right. I get hung up on names, so I'm just gonna steal from myself and use an old character.
Hilda the Bright.
Tilda the Bright. All right.
Ooh.
You also could. Tim is an acceptable name.
Someone called me Tim.
Tim.
Real late night Twitch hours happening right
Hey.
now.
This is what happens.
I am going to be Finn the Distracted.
Finn the Distracted. We have Thralmar the Unbroken. Tilda, was it Tilda the Bright?
Hilda the Bright.
And Finn the Distracted.
Yep.
What a party we have. Each player then will select a card at random from the Arcanum deck. I'll just deal these out. I will deal one card to all players, and then Julie, I'll send you what yours is. These are our Arcanum cards, and they will tell us what kind of words we have.
Okay.
All right, deal cards. And then I think I'll need to. Yeah, I'll need to draw an extra card for you, Julie. Let me see. All right. Oh, you got the fun one. Okay, I'm gonna send you the image on Discord. I'm gonna drop it into that group chat.
Cool.
Oh my god.
And you can share or not as you choose. I'm going to share mine. Mine is your words are formed from nothingness.
Oh my god. All of you though. So I'll share mine.
What'd you
Your
get?
words are elemental.
Ooh. Fun.
I'm very wizardy.
Fun.
Your words. I'll share mine. Your words are profane.
You get to decide what that means.
Okay.
There are multiple definitions of profane if you want to take a moment to go to Merriam-Webster.
Sure you're
But
not
yes,
Tilda the
all of
Dark?
your words are as they are described. Yes, they could be swear words. So let me make sure we have.
If that's the case, I really love that Julie got it.
Let's make sure that we have all the words cards in the word deck. Awesome. And then deal out. I'm going to deal 6 cards to everyone. And then I'll draw 6 extra for you and send them to you on the Discords. All right. 6 cards, deal. And then draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so you're getting. You're getting some of my favorite words. You get Yaroon. You get that one. I'm gonna not pronounce them because half the fun is you get to decide what they sound like.
Okay.
That one. This one.
Profane's a fun one.
And this one. Alright. And just drag these into Discord. Boop. 1, 2.
Thank you
3,
for
4, 5,
your extra
6.
work to
Yeah, no
include
problem.
my mobile function.
Hey, we're gonna make it work. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you have your Arcanum.
Mm-hmm.
You have your words. And words were supposed to be later, but whatever. I know how to play my own game. I've never done it.
It's okay.
Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Once it's been done, share your names and decide. We've already shared our names. Great. And decide who goes first by the most arcane means at your disposal. I think what I would like to do is Um, what's a... Which of us last lit a candle? or most recently, rather. Like, it was not me, because I have not lit a candle in, like, months.
I don't remember the last time I lit a candle.
I genuinely don't
I've been in a
remember.
room with a lit candle, like, today, but I didn't light the candle.
You know, that's close enough for me.
Close enough.
So,
Thanks, boss.
Now we're going to go around in turns. On your turn, ask each other player to tell you one thing about their character. Once your turn is complete, the next player does the same until all players have taken a turn. For those of us who are not taking a turn, when you tell another player something about your character, write that information down on your card. So,
Okay.
Jess, you get to
So,
ask us to tell you stuff.
okay. Just like ask anything.
Yeah.
Okay. For Dylan Thalinar?
Thronmar.
Thronmar. Thronmar, how did you come by the name Unbroken?
Ooh. I'm gonna get super bullshit about this.
Isn't that why we play games?
Yeah. Thralmar the Unbroken received his name because of how he got his words that were formed from nothingness. For 50 years, he sat in silence in a chamber, in a cave deep beneath the earth. And he sat there alone for 50 years, contemplating the silence. And that silence was unbroken. And thus, when he emerged, he too was unbroken.
This badass. I'm picturing a very old, like, buff, old hermit
Here for it.
in, like, a kilt and nothing else.
No, it's actually like, it's a super magey robe, it's just like the front is open.
It's got, like, the deepest V.
Yeah.
Deepest V.
There's like, and a super long beard, so there's this like a little bit of negative space between the edge of the deep V and the edge of the beard.
God. Is he tatted up
Excellent.
too?
He's super shredded.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I hate this, but I love it. Okay. Now do I ask Julie a question?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna be lazy and do the same thing. How did you come by the name Bright, Miss Tilda?
I think she gets the name Bright specifically from her magic. I get the name Bright specifically from my magic. It is all bright and crystal light and rainbows and all these other things, and I myself very much don't look that way.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm real fascinated as how this is going to tie into your Arcanum.
I'm making this up as I go. We all are. I don't know.
Look,
So-
maybe rainbows are heretical. Who knows?
We don't know this world yet. We'll find out.
I do have an idea for profane, but we'll see what comes out.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I think Tilda herself is a pretty average looking girl, and I think it also references the fact that she's clever, like maybe sort of a prodigy sort, where she's relatively young for a user of magic, to have the level of mastery that she does. And also a lot of her spells are focused around light.
Nice. All right. Go ahead and write that down on your your card, and then you get to ask us questions.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
Thanks,
an interesting idea.
What?
In chat, Lynn says, well, once upon a time, rainbows weren't seen as pretty things. They were seen as harbingers of danger since they accompanied storms most of the time.
That is a fair point.
That's pretty dope.
It's secretly the most metal witch.
Yes.
But she's very sparkly.
Sparkles are metal. Yeah, you've got fucking metal grandpa over here who just sat in silence for 50 years. And then Sparkle Witch, who is actually, like, so societally the super metal one.
Yeah.
And then there's me.
And
We'll
then
see
there's
what
We'll see.
Finn.
We'll see what. Yeah.
Why don't go ahead and why don't we round this out? Make sure we ask this question of everyone at the table. Finn, why do they call you the distracted?
Oh, why do they? What were we saying?
Oh no.
No, actually. Finn came by the moniker of the Distracted because amongst his order, they cannot distract him from his work. He's always got his nose in his books, and he's always off kind of elsewhere thinking of magic.
I
While
was
my
watching
fucking
Percy explore
while
in the
my fucking
background.
son back here is doing whatever. And few things can really pull him out of that, so he's very distracted from the world around him. Because his mind is constantly elsewhere. He's constantly thinking of spells or craft, and he's just not here and now.
Nice.
And because we're all giving our appearance on this, he's a younger man. He's like probably mid-early 20s. Was a bit of a prodigy, most likely, because he's very, very well read. Like, has probably touched every book he's consumed, and can probably quote. But nobody wants to ask him those things. He's fairly unassuming looking. A little bit spindly, clearly a little nerdy, but generally very average.
All right, go ahead and write that down on your digital card.
Pretty average looking kids in their super middle grandpa.
Sometimes a family.
It's two average looking kids. They're badass metal grandpa wizard.
Oh no.
Like level 10, level 90.
Is Tilda like younger? She's what, like a teenager, did we say?
I
Or
would say she's maybe like 19,
okay.
20. Yeah, she's probably around Finn's age.
Yeah. So, oh no. Do we have a ship about to happen?
We'll see where the story goes.
We'll see if we get the shipping card.
Yes.
There's at least one.
Oh jeez, of course there is.
Okay, all right. So that answers that question. I really need to write
Thrallmar.
your wizard name. What?
I'll just send it. I'll
Thronmar?
send it. Thrallmar.
Thrallmar.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure I
like-
stole that from World of Warcraft.
I was gonna say that's definitely a fucking town in Outland.
Yeah, that sounds right. Oh yeah, Thrallmar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
first place you arrive at on Horde side.
True.
Oops.
Only one L though.
Thrallmar. Okay, so we know how you got your name. Who taught you magic? So you obtained your mastery by sitting in silence for 50
Yeah,
years.
I learned my words by sitting in silence.
And did you know magic before that, and who taught you it?
I think, yeah, actually. I think I had other words before I had these ones. that were my master's words. And I think I was part of a wizarding school as a young boy, where I learned. Sorry, I'm writing this down too. Where I learned my first words from my master. But I wanted to have words that were just mine, and that's not what the school was teaching. The school was teaching, here are how you use our words. And so Thromar like tried and tried. Like he would go into the library day after day to try and find words that could be truly his, until finally he realized that the only way for him to find words that were his own were to sequester himself away.
This is a lot about the world we live in.
So Tilda. What is it that makes you come back to magic despite everything that it costs?
I think it's freedom. I think life without magic would be almost not worth it. You know, not that a mundane life is so boring, but that the options that are left to me without using magic aren't ones that I feel like I can get through.
Okay.
So magic is freedom. It gives me the power to decide.
It's the endless loop. He's just riding a roller coaster. That's what he thinks.
Yeah. Oh no, he's about to come back.
Magic is freedom. It gives me the power to decide for myself.
Nice. Finn, the distracted.
Yes?
The not to be distracted.
Yeah. Sorry,
what? So we all have magic, right? Despite needing these words. Where does your magic come from? Were you born with it? Does it run in your family?
I was born with it, but it does not run in my family. I didn't have a family to speak of, but neither parent was magical by any means. And I was given up to an order because they did not know what to do with a child with magic. And there may have been some other complications in that whole scenario, but it has nothing to do with magic.
Of course not. Of course not. All right, go ahead and put that down. You are all now, or we are all now, powerful conduits of magic. But to give that energy shape, we need words. We've already drawn them because I forgot how to how to start my own game. Each player draws 6 cards from the words deck, and then, this is the important part, so you're not done writing, you decide, based on your arcana and your own deep magical knowledge, what each word means. Take what time you need and no more, because your journey begins soon. I think this is, if we were playing at a table together and not on a stream, this is a point where I'd be like, okay, heads down, pencils, let's write. But I think we can workshop this a bit if you would like. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my own words hand here so that the chat can kind of see. And each of the words cards, so if you look, it has a word that is, you know, how it would be spelled in our characters, our Roman characters that we're familiar with. And then there's a rune that goes with it in several styles. And that's sort of there to help you, like, give you some inspiration for what it might mean. And for myself, I kind of like picking one of the styles of runes that I think represents my words. Like, oh yes, this is the kind of rune that I use, and then using that to guide what I think. So my arcanum, what was my arcanum again? My arcanum is my words are formed from nothingness.
Nothing.
Nice.
Well, I've got mine.
Oh no.
Elemental was easy though.
That helps. Well, we gotta hope that we can find uses for them, because we're also gonna have to combine these. Ooh, I got my favorite word. Yeah. Destati is my favorite word in the deck.
Study is a great word.
Gosh.
I mean, I kind of cribbed it from Kingdom Hearts, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think
weirdly
this
easy
one means. Ooh, yeah. So I'm gonna say, I'll share what mine are as I write them. Zarosa is calm. And Thruz is frustration.
Ooh.
Oh God.
I can do mine.
Okay, go
Because I
ahead.
have them all.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have, since my words are elemental, I have Callum, which is air. Quadrionis is water. Juror
Nice.
is fire. Bur is earth. Hekato is shadow. And Andun is light.
Nice. Ooh, you got good words. Those all went together real nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's gonna be healing, and then what do I want Destati to be? It's such a
Friendship?
I feel like it has so much. It feels almost Latinate, so it has a weight to it.
Fate.
Ooh, yeah, Destiny. Yeah. So my words are Zarosa, which means calm, Thruz, which means frustration, Ghoul, which means darkness, Zarem, which means power, Hinla, which means healing, and Destati, which means destiny. These are my words. Hear them and tremble.
They come from nothing, though.
They do.
That's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll talk about the Arcanum cards that we didn't draw once we finish. Because so part of the thing is there are 5 Arcanum cards, and this game plays up to 4 players, so there's always at least one Arcanum that doesn't get drawn.
Gotcha.
Okay, I'm stuck on one, so maybe I go through and tell you guys what I have.
Yeah.
I have Kiss, which I'm hoping you might let this slide under the radar, but final, which means final.
Okay.
Yarn, which means spark. Dalmar, which means empower. Kefris, which means daylight. And Leh, which means lightning. And the one I'm undecided on, Dree.
Dree. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
Drie.
Rain?
Ooh, I like
Rain?
that. Rain, yeah.
Okay.
Or
Rain.
maybe Storm?
Ooh, Storm. I think Storm fits because she has lightning as well, and Spark. Yeah.
Yeah, this metal witch needs some power.
I bet she can make an entrance.
Well, yeah. She can provide her own lighting.
Yeah. She like kicks open the hall, the doors to the hall. She's standing there on one side, Metal Grandpa on the other. Guy with the book.
That's our group.
Our mighty heroes, who are the only ones can save us because they use magic.
All right. We have taken what
yeah.
time we need, and no more. Do we have all of our words?
Yes.
Okay. Before the journey can begin, we need a place to journey from. Our home. Draw the bottom card. This is actually going to be the top card because Roll20 doesn't let you draw the bottom card. Of the location deck, and take turns describing an aspect of this home and why you are leaving. So, I'm actually going to hide the Arcanum and Words decks. We no longer need them. Ooh. I wonder if this will let us keep the cards in our hands. Let's find out. Yeah, sweet.
Seems to be there. I wrote mine in my thing anyway, so.
Yeah, fair. I like having the pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm going to draw a card from the location deck. City of the Elves is our home.
Ooh.
So, starting with Jess, because you're player one, we are going to take turns describing an aspect of this home and why you are living.
Okay. I think there's we're just gonna lean into like the standard issue fantasy bullshit. So there's a big fucking tree in the middle of this city that sort of supports all of it. I think it's actually completely white from root to leaves. This like really, really brilliant alabaster that shimmers in the sunlight, and almost looks like the leaves are made out of silver.
Ooh.
That is so immense it almost covers the entirety of the city, for as far as it spreads out. And it's very graceful in its appearance. So then why we're leaving?
Yeah. Or maybe even why do you want to leave? It can be either.
I don't think he was ever necessarily from here. I think this has maybe been a home for perhaps a year. And he has learned all there was to learn here, so it's time to go. He read every book in their library.
Nice.
So he's done now.
Awesome. And Tilda? What about you? Describe an aspect of our home. Say something about why you're leaving.
An aspect of our home.
Yes.
So if we have a central tree, I'm definitely imagining. Perhaps there is a great magical university here, which was maybe even the original Joffrefin or something like that, where this significant library was housed. But it, God, I don't want to introduce sad complications.
You're allowed. You're allowed.
I don't know.
This is not a happy game.
No. I think it's something that like Tilda sees like the students walking to and from the school, and it's something that she wants for herself but knows she can't have. you know, one of those things. Like I have this magic and I could do well at this magic university, but because of this barrier to entry, I can't go there myself. And I think that's part of why she's leaving, is because it's like, okay, well, I can't learn the way the rest of them are doing it, so I'd better go and figure it out myself. And oh, hey, there's a real smart guy.
I was gonna say, are we allowed to introduce pieces, or do we just go around singularly for now?
Do whatever you want.
I would say, like, Finn probably did get accepted to the university here. Like, he showed up just because he wanted to check out the library, honestly.
But, like, in order to get into the library, he needed to be enrolled.
Yeah, so he was basically like, they're like, you have to be enrolled, and he's like, sure, yeah, whatever I need to get in. And he, like, filled out the papers and suddenly was a student. But he's done his time and is just leaving, so probably meets her.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Like some sort of meet cute on the lawn. God.
Yeah, like he was probably just chilling in the, I don't know, whatever the college campus atmosphere here is, while she's wanting to get in so bad.
Yeah, I think if, like, you know, she definitely knows he's college, so the reason that she might wind up gelling to him, partially because he has that internal knowledge, theoretically, you know. So, and I think that's what pulls her away, is like, well, they won't teach me, but I can teach myself. Let's go find some stuff out.
All she'd have to do is ask. He's real happy to talk about everything he knows.
Oh yeah, so I was reading this book.
Problem is, most people don't want to listen.
I mean, you can give him whatever voice you want, Jess, but I'm imagining him with a Canadian accent, just to be clear. Or a Minnesotan, you know? Oh yeah. You know, I was reading this book the other day and...
Oh God. No, I think Canadian probably. He's very much sorry.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so that leaves you, Thrallmar.
Yes.
Metal Grandpa.
So my aspect that I want to describe is about the tree, actually. This tree and the city that springs up around it is the birthplace of magic. This is where when the mortal races, the mortal species came to this tree with their first words, it gave them magic. And that's why there's this university here, but also that's why they teach these specific words, is because they're the words that they spoke to the tree that got them magic. And that's part of why Thrallmar is leaving, is because this is the academy he went to, where they only wanted to teach him these words, and he couldn't find words of his own. And when he came out from below, from beneath the earth, when he returned to his home, he expected to be greeted not with like fanfare, but with recognition, with some recognition of this accomplishment that he'd achieved, this thing that he'd done, but none of them at the university could hear his words. And so he came back, and his words meant nothing to them.
Whoa.
Oh boy.
So he's in search of a place where his words have meaning beyond him. And I think I think
Speaks the void.
I think he sees something in Finn, because Finn has such an open mind. I think Finn maybe can hear
Oh,
his
definitely.
words
Definitely.
when he works magic, but also he sees part of himself in Tilda. This desire to find something that's her own, to teach herself magic, and I think he wants to give her what he never had, which is this encouraging force that isn't trying to shape her, but give her like the push she needs to shape herself. So that's why he's leaving.
Oh, the ache.
To pull that back around, I do think I agree. Finn absolutely heard the words, was able to hear the words he used, and was interested and fascinated enough that it pulled him out of his usually distracted state. And he wanted to talk about these words.
It's like, please, yes, what are these sounds that you're making? Because they're not the words I heard from Professor such and such.
Uh-huh.
I've read every book in this place, and those words aren't in them.
Yep. I know all of the words they use here. Those are not any of them.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think I picked a definition for profane.
Yeah?
It may come up later.
Oh boy.
But I think definitely the striking out and like trying to find, like, teach herself magic, and I do think there's a connecting point between Tilda and Swarmar in that I think Tilda is trying to make her words herself.
Ooh, that's probably not okay, is it?
And that
probably
strikes me as
not.
something that might be just a little bit profane.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds like playing God a little.
And like anyone else, right? But this hyper curious nerd and this like hyper individualist grandpa, anyone else would look at this and be like, that's you can't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Stop, that's against the law, right?
And then there's Finn over here just like, did you make those words yourself? Amazing.
Yeah.
Please let us discuss the phonemes.
Yep.
Oh god,
Awesome.
these two get on like a house on fire. Anyway.
Wonderful. Okay.
Just
Now that we
bring it
all
full circle.
Now that we all know our home, we must leave it. Our journey starts with the first turn. Each turn consists of 3 components: the location, the problem, and spellcasting. So, Jess, you will take our first turn, and let's just take this one step at a time. So, on your turn, draw a location card.
Hey.
So go ahead and drag one of those onto the tabletop.
Boop. Ooh.
Ooh. We'll put it down here. So the home will always be here. I haven't set up like an actual game board for this yet, but the home will always be here. And then our location will go here, our problem, and then our spell. So our first location is Diamond River. A disagreement. Describe a scene at the place you have journeyed to based on the prompt on the card. This scene may involve the other characters, and you may invite their players to join you in describing or enacting this moment, but ultimately, you decide what is and is not included in your scene. Take your time bringing wonder to this description. The lands you travel are, quite literally, only what you describe.
Okay. I think as we travel across the land, which is probably, I think this land of the elves was probably slightly elevated, but we've moved into more flat lands, that a river that probably feeds to the elven city runs through. It's probably called Diamond River, I would guess, by the brilliant iridescent quality in the water that throws back the light in glimmering prisms of just a rainbow color. Which Finn definitely points out is like, oh, it's like your magic, Tilda.
Yeah. I have a word that does that. Yeah.
But I think they come across a point in the river that where it forks, and there are people arguing about this because there's construction going on. There is a dam being put up at this river, or it's being diverted. And I think the people that maybe live in this village near this river are not okay with it. This is being done by someone from somewhere else, and they are protesting this construction that they did not consent to, because it's going to impact their village. Like, it's probably their water source.
Yeah. I imagine, like, Threlmar is of a mind that that we should just move on, right? Like, this is a problem they need to solve for themselves. They need to find their own answer here. We can't give it to them. How do the other two of you feel about this?
Tilda would want.
Yeah, how does Tilda feel?
Tilda would want to help. And I don't necessarily, given the nature of her magic, that might not be like her first thought. But I think there's like a part of her that doesn't like that this disagreement is happening regardless of what it's about, and she feels like leaving it and just letting it run its course is a way for things to go badly. So she wants to help, and she says as much very very firmly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Finn doesn't even notice what's going on until he basically trips and like falls into the empty riverbed because of how much construction has gone on, and he's basically like knees in the mud, and he's like, "What? Oh, I thought there was a river here. What's happening?"
There should be.
There was, but there is no longer. Things change, Finn.
But
well,
not all
problem.
Changes are for the better. What about the village down the river? Can't they build this somewhere else?
Yes, what's the point of this? What do they gain by blocking the water here?
Perhaps,
that river's going to impact the city before long.
And perhaps that is what they wish to achieve.
Seems rather rude, don't you think?
Who does it help?
Well, it helped me get my pants in the mud. He dusts off.
Finn, your own inattentiveness to the twists of the road have found your trousers this way. He smiles a little bit.
Wise words, grandfather metal. Well, yes, I suppose you're right, but I really expected the river to be here and the bridge, but they've taken it all away. I've walked this path before. Many times.
You know what I think Tilda does? I think she just straight up walks up to one of the people that looks like they're a part of whatever's doing the dam operation and just like taps them on the shoulder. Like,
Excuse me!
Excuse me! What are you hoping to achieve by building a dam here?
How do they react?
I think they might be a little disoriented by being asked so directly at first. And
by this young lady. Just like,
and I think they give some like government issued like non-response.
Oh yes.
And you know, the like we have to give them an
Yes.
answer.
Something
You know.
in service to the crown as decreed by Lord such and such.
Yeah. And
Blah 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 resourcing.
and she does, you know, to her credit, hear them out. But she's very like arm cross, tapping her foot.
I think Finn is probably getting ready to just start putting water back in the river. He's not gonna ask anybody, he's just gonna fix it.
Yeah. And maybe, well, they've been having this argument. That's the problem. They can't overcome this using their normal words.
Well, we haven't encountered the problem yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah. I think she goes up and she talks to them and she tries to figure out what's going on.
Jess, once you are satisfied with your scene, a problem occurs.
Of course.
Are you satisfied with your scene?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we probably did see Finn try to start filling the river with water, and he got stopped by some guards or something.
Like Thrallmar just like slowly grabs his hand.
Just like, oh, no. Boy. All right. Draw a problem card and describe the issue at hand based on the prompt written on the card. Oh.
Jesus. Already?
Describe... discuss who the problem affects and why, and explain why the problem must be solved with magic. Some problems may have additional instructions. This one does not. These instructions cannot be followed. The spell immediately fails. Once the problem is established, you may begin speaking magic words. So, our problem is a prophecy fulfilled. So what is the problem? Like, what is the issue at hand here? And who does this problem affect?
I think Finn's words were actually a clue to that. He may have read somewhere that if the river ceases to flow, or the diamond ceases to flow, or glitter, as it were, the death of the tree is soon to follow.
Ooh.
Shit.
I think that tells us who is affected, right?
And it's just a piece of trivia in his mind. He's just like, oh yes, the water is supposed to keep going. You can't have this.
Yeah. Ooh. And why must this problem be solved with magic?
I think perhaps it's being dammed on the one side because it's running dry further up somewhere else. And like this area is trying to alleviate their water, like their drought problem effectively by damming it up and like getting what they can.
Yeah.
But it's going to start causing problems elsewhere because the source is further.
Yeah.
And they have not discovered it here yet.
Oh, that's so good. Awesome. Are you ready to cast some magic?
Let's do it.
Okay. Working collectively, we will select which words you want to commit to the spell and in what order. No player may commit more than one word to a spell, but at least one word must be committed to each spell.
Okay.
As each player contributes a word, they describe how its meaning will help or hinder the spell. When we have completed writing the spell, the current player, so you, Jess, will recite the words and describe its magic, rolling one 6-sided die for each helping word and one 4-sided die for each hindering word. And then depending on the results, we will see if our magic is successful, if our spell is successful and the problem is solved, if the spell fails due to sabotage, or if the problem is solved but only partially or temporarily. These are our options. So everybody can take a look at your words, decide if you want to contribute a word or not.
I have 2 ways of doing this. I could use stone to hinder the dam, or water to just fucking fill the river.
Hindering, it's you're hindering the spell or helping the spell.
Gotcha. Okay. Then water. Yeah.
Okay.
So I drag my card onto the thing. Boop.
Okay.
And then, oh crap, did I send Julie's words back to the deck? I did, son of a bitch.
Oh no.
Alright. It's okay.
Just type them on there, I guess.
No, I'm gonna turn on ability to pick specific cards.
Pull whatever.
And then,
There you go. I forgot you could do that.
And then I'll just I'll choose when you pick your word. I want to add God, I don't want to. So part of the thing is you lose the word that you commit. You can only ever use a word once. So I'm trying to be like, I want to pick a word that fits, but I also I don't want to lock myself out of something later. Oh, this is okay. I'm gonna pick.
Go for broke.
I'm picking Distati.
Shit.
Well, this is for a prophecy.
And it's as a helping word, and I think it's I want to rewrite destiny.
Ooh.
And that's how Distati
That's
helps.
fair. I think mine is obviously pretty self-explanatory. He's just going to fill the river up.
And this is like, this spell has to be about water. What do you have, Tilda? Do you want to contribute a word, or?
I think Tilda does want to help. The only thing that I really have is Storm, or Dree. Which could make this whole scene all kinds of crazy. Yeah.
We don't need the storm, but it'll look cool.
That's the thing is, and I kind of like, I do have Tiz, but I kind of want to save Tiz for like a good punctuating. So, I'm not sure narratively she would contribute something, so I think I'll use Dalmar, Empower.
Empower. Okay. So let me drag Dalmar. Here it is. Boop. Dalmar. All right. What order do these go in? So our words are Empower, Water, and Destiny.
I think Empower comes first.
I
think Empower, Water, Destiny.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So, sorry.
Whoa.
I'll let you move the cards.
Yeah, all good.
So
okay.
our spell is Dalmar Quadrionis Distati. So are we happy with the spell?
Yeah, Dalmar Quadrionis. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
When you've completed writing your spell, the current player recites the words and describes its magic, rolling 1 6-sided die for each helping word. So you're going to roll 1 die for each of these because they're all helping.
Oh, for all 3? Okay.
One die per word.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I need another D6. Hold on. It's not like I have
Too many dice.
It's not like I have a ton of dice around here.
I would give you my dice, but this is online and you're like 2,000 miles away.
Yeah.
There is always roll 20 if we need it.
All right. 1, 4, and 3.
Okay,
So-
please recite the spell and describe its
Yep.
magic. But
Dalmar Quadrionis Destati. Sounds fancy.
and what is supposed to happen here?
I think we don't actually know where the water is drying up from that that this prophecy is behind, but I think we see the river here pretty much just becomes flush with water again, regardless of the dam. The dam remains intact, and the water flows onward. But I think we hear somewhere almost like a stone, like a great stone cracking off in the distance. That ties to that broken destiny that now that we've got water just sourced from right here forever.
Well,
and yeah,
maybe not forever.
maybe not forever.
So, what we're looking for is 6s. If no dice show their highest number, the spell is weak and only partially effective. You must describe how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily.
I think pretty much we just did. Like, it solves the immediate problem, but we know that it's drying up elsewhere.
All right.
We just don't know where.
So we added water. We didn't renew the source.
Just add water. The spell.
All right.
Yep.
Well, go ahead and take this this location card. You can just right click it and click take card. That is yours now, Jess. That will be important for the end of the game as we return home. But once the spell is complete, the current player selects another player's word to preserve. Oh yes, I forgot that this is part of the game. Select another player's word to preserve. So not your own, but either Dalmar or Destati.
Destati's real good.
Yeah?
Keep that.
Okay.
I feel like Destiny might be useful down the line since we didn't fuck up that prophecy as much as we liked.
We shall see. Flip. All right. Oh, and flip. There we go. So, all other words committed to the spell are lost. We turn them over and do not use them in another spell. Current player then places the location card in front of them, discards the problem card, and their turn ends. Now, Julie, Tilda, it is your turn. I will draw a location card for you.
Yes, thank you.
Ah, yeah. That's a little in-joke here.
God damn it.
Look, I get to do what I want with games that I make. So, the location is Ithrazaya, and the prompt is, what lies within the ruins?
Ithrazaya, what lies within the ruins?
So go ahead and you can describe a scene with other people, without other people.
So when we set out, it wasn't really with a specific agenda to follow necessarily.
Not for Finn, anyway. He's just like, well, I'm done here. I'm gonna go that way.
There seems to be some wandering in this process.
So what if we follow the river for a little while and even maybe get to the spot where it's starting to dry up? And we've established that there's a community up there, but maybe past that into the mountain pass or something. There is a stone doorway. And for those
Are we in the spirit realm right now?
What gave us this?
This is the other side of the story.
And I do think we find some ruins in our wandering while we decide to cut through this mountain pass and see what we find on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody put a leash on Finn.
What is in these ruins? What do we find?
Yeah, we did temples last game, but
is it maybe a great city?
Or
there definitely
a great city was a civilization that lived here, and I think so tempting to give ammo for these two to run off with. But I think we find a civilization full of old magic.
I definitely thought you were going to say full of old men.
Yes, it's a bunch of metal old men that have been sitting here in the ruins in silence.
I was like,
for centuries.
I was like, wait, are the Pappies here? Hashtag watch travel.
Full of old magic, and we see, like, I imagine that we're in like this narrow mountain pass for a little while, and then everything just opens up before us, and it starts out with what is definitely like a gathering place in the middle, and as you go out you see the remnants of these structures, and I think they're like concentric rock circles that have been built that have runes that look a lot like the magic words that our runes have carved into them.
Could I add on that
please,
perhaps the wind that blows through here whispers words of magic?
Yeah. There's just like a charge in the air the second we enter, and all of this opens out before us.
Yeah. Probably to the average person, it just sounds like wind, but to people like us who are hecka magical, we hear the words.
And I think maybe in the center of the city, there is a large, like, petrified stump.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no. That's happening. Okay.
Are you satisfied with your scene?
Oh no.
I'm satisfied with my scene.
Where's the campaign I can play in this world already?
Let's get a problem, shall we?
Nothing can go wrong in an old magical ruin.
Nothing ever goes wrong in old fuck.
Fuck yes. You spent the wrong word. Our problem is a sudden storm. So, please describe the issue at hand. Based on the prompt written on the card, discuss who the problem affects and why it can only be solved with magic.
A sudden storm, and I mean, it's a magical storm.
Ooh.
It is a storm of old magic. Perhaps, if I may suggest, Finn touched something he shouldn't have touched.
Honestly, he probably said a word that triggered something.
Yeah.
You
tried to repeat something that you heard.
Yeah. Or like he's literally just reading the stuff aloud, or like, yeah. It's like, you hear that, right? And he said, and he rattles off some words that are not part of his arsenal, and oops.
Yeah, and there's this rumbling, and the wind whips up, and you see sparks of like old blue energy coming off of everything and whipping through in the wind. And this storm kicks up, and it being magic, it probably doesn't feel so great.
Right. Well, like, you can't just hide in a house from a storm of magic, right? Like,
No.
you can't just find shelter. It is the shelter.
So I think it makes sense that it will be affecting all of us on some level, and you guys can define exactly what that is for Thrallmar and Finn. But I think for Tilda, it feels like she's being pulled away from herself a little. Like something is trying to yank what put the magic inside her out of her body.
Oof.
I feel like, because we established that, like, as the wind rushes through here, you can hear the words. I feel like as the wind gets louder from this storm, it, like, feeds back into itself. As the wind gets louder, the words get louder.
It's like
the
yeah.
magic gets stronger. And so it's just spiraling.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I think also because those words are, like, growing louder and the magic's growing, like, it's probably very hard for each and every one of us to even concentrate enough to use our own words.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like actively blocking our ability to cast magic very readily.
Okay. All right. Yep.
Shall we cast some magic?
I think casting some magic to fight some magic sounds like a great idea.
We should probably do that.
I have a really good word for this. I'm pretty stoked.
Okay, what's your word?
Zarosa, which means calm.
I have a word for wind. Well, air.
Hey.
I have Callum, which means air. Or, you know, wind, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Daylight. I still really want to save that final, but Kefris, daylight.
And how does it help?
Hmm.
Because keep in mind, the definition doesn't necessarily need to apply directly, right? Like, I have the advantage of calm. Zarosa helps because it is going to attempt to calm the storm.
Right. Okay.
Right? And we know that Callum helps because it shapes that calm and focuses it on the wind. So.
I think tis actually would be a good word to use here, final. And which kind of brings the event to rest.
Yeah.
And end. Okay.
Awesome.
3d6?
Just a moment. We need to decide what order they go in. So our words are Zarosa, Callum, and Tis.
Zaros?
Calm, air, and final.
I think that's a natural progression there.
All right, so Zarosa,
like
Callum,
calming
Tis.
the air. End note.
Nice.
Rest.
All right, then recite the magic words and describe the spell's magic.
With some effort, I think. So is Tilda saying these words that have been given to her? Okay. With some effort, I think she stretches out her hands, and we see that bright flash that she is so named for. And Zarosa, Callis, and that spark goes off. That's 1/6.
That's all we need.
What, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
If one of the dice rolls a 6, the spell is successful, and the current player describes how the problem is solved. So we've seen 2 of the results, so I'm going to explain all 3 of them now. If one of the dice rolls a 6, the spell is successful, and the current player describes how the problem is solved. If none of the dice rolls a 6, but one of the 4-sided dice shows a 4, the spell fails, and one of the sabotaging players, decided by whichever means seem fair, describes how the magic goes awry. One of the sabotaging players also looks at the top card of the problem deck and may place that card on the bottom of the deck or back on top. And finally, if no dice show their highest number, the spell is weak, only partially effective. The current player describes how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily.
Okay.
But
heck.
we got a full success on this one. And you get
I'm
to
sure I'm
describe
glad
how
we-
the problem is solved.
I'm sure I'm glad we're cooperating.
For now.
For now.
For now, yeah. So, these words are being yelled the wind, and there's all of this chaos happening around them. And I think the first thing that goes is the blue magic pulls back into whatever runes it came flying off of. And then the wind starts to slow down. And then maybe storm clouds were brought in by this clear away, and we see like a beam of sunlight shoot down. Yeah.
Do we still hear the whispers, even though everything is calm, or is it silent now?
I think, well, because it's final, right?
Final. I think we may have inadvertently, perhaps.
Did we just turn it off?
I think we just...
We broke the magic?
We silenced Ithrazaya.
Whoops.
So this place completely to rest, and it is completely silent.
I think if you'll allow...
Absolutely.
I think there's a moment where maybe like Finn is like, but the magic!
Right? Oh, definitely. He's like, it's silent now.
And Thrallmar would like put a hand on his shoulder and say, it is. But that doesn't mean the magic is dead.
How though? There's not a sound.
You don't need it. Not if you listen hard enough.
He's literally just like waiting, listening.
And I think we see like Thrallmar closes his eyes and smiles as he hears his words in the silence.
Ooh. I think we see Finn probably for the first time that these two have ever seen it happen. He looks actively frustrated and distressed.
Oh.
And kind of goes away from them for a bit.
Oh. Oh.
Buddy.
I do think like Tilda would like make a point of like pointing out that the runes are still there and they can still be read. It's just that they're quiet right now. You know.
Still write them down, it's okay.
Okay. Do you want to take some impressions? We can hang out and take some impressions. I really want us all to get along.
Look, it doesn't matter that you've never heard them, so these shapes mean nothing to you. It really, it's fine.
Yeah.
You can make your own them, like I did.
Yeah, I think he's distracted, whether by intent or not.
Okay.
And here we find the tension in the game.
And
you get to pick one word other than your own to keep. So one word is preserved. Either Zerosa or Callum.
Mm-hmm. And is this a decision I'm making as a character as well?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I maybe see that word on the air and I grab it back. That's a really cool visual. But I can see the benefit of calm or air coming back, but I think given the current situation, Tilda sees Callum floating away and pulls it back.
Here,
gives it back to Finn.
I saved this for you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
All right, go ahead and take Callum back off the board, Jess. I'm gonna see which one that was your. This is your stack, so Tease will go over here. Zerosa will go here. So I'm gonna reorder these so they match our camera order, so it's easier for me to remember. This is important because there is one way to reuse a word, so I just want to make sure we know where everybody's stuff is. All right, flip. flip, and then you get to hold on to this card. I'm going to drop it into Discord for you, so you have a record of it. And this is Ithrazaya.
Ithrazaya, yeah.
All right.
I've got it written down as well.
Awesome. Just drag this off to the side. We don't have to worry about it anymore.
Thank you.
All right, and then it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Interesting. Let's see where we go. Oh yes.
Ooh.
Fracture is the name of this place, and the prompt is forbidden magic.
Cool.
So, as we descend from the ancient and now silent city of Ithrazaya, we descend into there's no path out. There's no pass that leads all the way through the mountain, but there is a tunnel. There is a long magicked tunnel carved deep into the mountain that leads out from this city and hopefully back into the land. But as it goes down into the earth, it passes by the ancient roots of the tree that once stood in Ithrazaya. And these roots, long dead and petrified, are broken. But they still hold that power that we heard up above, that now lays dormant. They hold that power inside of them still. And I think the prompt here, forbidden magic, isn't what happened. It's what Threlmar does. And I think he goes to the roots and he begins whispering, mouthing soundlessly with his hands upon one of these roots, drawing the power from them.
Well, we've established that Finn hears him.
Mm-hmm.
So is this magic that he's definitely hearing?
I think, yeah. Both of you are here, so if either of you wants to respond to this, I'm down to have both of you in the scene. But I think like magic power was given from the tree in the Elven City. It wasn't taken. So I think the forbidden magic is taking the magic from these roots rather than having it bestowed upon him.
Okay. Yeah, I think Finn is watching, for once not distracted by something else, but distracted by magic as he often is. And I think we see him actually start to, he walks over to another side and puts a hand there and starts to recite those words as well. Doing the same.
I don't think Tilda does. I think even, like, it's one thing to make a word from thin air and give it a meaning. And it's one thing to have words that nobody else can hear. But to take magic that was not freely given to you is something that she's not comfortable with. So I think she reacts, but she keeps it to herself for now. Yeah. I'm not sure she fully, like, it takes her a second to understand what's going on. It may be too late at that.
I think when they're done and the roots grow cold, Threlmar turns to Finn and says, "Words are a crafted thing, like a hammer like a knife. But to craft them, you need material. It is wise of you that you seek it out.
That material wasn't given to you.
Is this how you get your words?
I don't think he says anything.
I think this might probably disturb Tilda more than anything else, but I think there's a little bit of a smile, like a knowing smile on Finn's face.
Mm-hmm.
But he says no more.
All right.
And it's weird. He seems like weirdly focused for once in his life.
Love it. I'm satisfied with my scene.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point.
Y'all thought I was bringing a nerd.
Oh boy. I thought I was bringing
how I feel about that ship now.
wise old monk dude. Well.
Well, guess he's evil.
We'll see.
Someone save Tilda.
Gray. Watch The Dragon Prince. It's a good show. I'm gonna draw a problem card.
Great.
Oh
God!
The crystal of Ozarkai has broken.
Shit.
Is the problem. I need to describe what's happening, who's affected, why it can only be solved with magic. I think as we absorb this power and take it into ourselves, as the last of this arcane life is drawn from the roots, the crystal that they preserved, the wards, the magic that they held, fails. And this crystal, at the end, the very bottom of this passageway, shatters. And the being held within, the djinn locked away for centuries, is released. I think
That's great.
The only way that this problem can be solved is with magic. We need to defeat it, or entrap it, or banish it. We need to do something.
Time to do a boss fight.
Okay.
So, let's look at our words.
Do we think there are any remains of the crystal?
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
Okay. I could use my word for stone.
Oh.
Or
Okay.
earth, rather.
Okay.
Earth, stone. Yeah, you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's elemental.
Yeah. Gosh. I think I'm going to commit Zarem, which is power, and I'm helping, by giving back some of the power that I took.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'll use my word for earth,
Okay.
and say that I'm like reconstructing the prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm helping.
Okay.
Do you want to commit a word?
Fix this darn problem your own self. It's a very tempting thing here. But I think Tilda will help with a word that doesn't sound very strong. We'll see what it does. Yaden, spark.
Spark. Nice. Is there like a moment as she gives this word to Thralmar?
Mm-hmm. There is a reluctance and I think an acknowledgement of because you're giving it back, some small part of it back. She's not completely closed off to the idea of working with these guys just because of one creepy moment.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's like it is definitely like she adds it to the pile like towards the end after a long thinking.
Yeah. All right, so that is Yarun, was it?
Yeah, yes.
All right. So our words are Bur, which means stone, or in this case crystal, Zarem, which is power, and Yarun, which is spark. I think... What's our order here? I like...
Maybe Zarem, Bur, Yarun?
Yeah. Like, I think it's sort of like power of the stone.
Spark.
Spark, yeah.
Yeah. Glow, you goddamn thing.
Yes, it's like the power of the stone is the subject, and spark is like this imperative.
Yeah.
So I'll roll this in Roll20 because I'm lazy and I don't want to grab my dice. So Thromar gathers these words and stands at the edge of the stairs, his robe billowing and his hand outstretched, and as he speaks, there's like the roar of this djinn and the released magical energies that fill the space, and I think it's deafening, right? But as Thromar speaks, there's a subtraction in the sound. Each syllable he makes is a moment of silence that carries with it magical meaning. And he says, Zarem Bur Yarun. Oof. So close.
How'd we do? Oh, okay. Well...
The spell is weak and only partially effective. The current player describes how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily. I think as these words strike out, he chokes on the last word when he goes to say Yarun. There's a hoarseness in his voice, and the crystal rises, lifted by this gifted power, into the air, back into its place, surrounding the djinn. And Thromar gets the word out, and there's a light, there's a glimmer in the stone, but it just highlights the cracks in the crystal.
No deeper meaning there at all.
Nope.
And I think Yarun is lost. I don't think Thromar can preserve that word for you. But he can preserve Bur. He can preserve the stone. And give that back. Yeah, let me just let me take this card. This is mine now. And Jess, it's your turn.
Okay. Location?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Whispering Fjord.
No.
A secret revealed.
Huh.
All right. Gosh.
I like how we've been traveling through this mountain the whole way. Like all of our cards have been like very well for this adventure.
Yeah, it's almost like we followed the river, I think.
Yeah.
How much longer are we thinking we're gonna go? How
mean,
does this game reach an
the game
end?
ends when we're out of words. Which is why I've been spending a word every time. Is theoretically at at minimum you get 6 turns per person.
Okay.
So.
Well, so I think by this point we have traversed through the ruins and we have emerged out back into the open air on the other side of the mountain, which is probably this great white peak that is capped with snow in this region where we've found ourselves by this point. And this area, this fjord, is fairly forbidding but beautiful. The river flows and splits out this way, though the water here that normally would feed to the Diamond River has gone dark. It's lost its iridescence, it's lost its shimmer, it's this inky blackness in the water. And at the end of this fjord, we see a figure standing, a little too distant at first to notice, but as we get closer, one of you recognizes Finn. Or at least it sure as heck looks like him. Doing a whole lot of something to the water.
I think it's probably Tilda.
Yeah.
It's probably not easy to notice at first because he's probably not facing them, but the coat is the slightly shabby coat is fairly recognizable, and when he turns just enough, it's very clearly him.
Yeah, I think she shouts and like starts scrambling up to wherever he's at to get to him. And you know, whatever he's doing doesn't look good. So.
No, it probably looks similar to what happened with the tree, although much more obvious and larger in scale.
Okay.
But I would say maybe that's good for establishing that, and we should see what the problem is.
Oh boy, there are so many things that could go wrong here. All right, go ahead and draw a problem card. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Important to note that Finn is still with you guys too.
Oh my god, we haven't gotten a single of the really bad cards. I'm just saying. Oh, that's so good!
What the?
Do you know what's right with having to play with my current setup is like the delay.
Yeah.
To read the card.
So the problem card is legitimacy in question.
Jesus, how though?
So I think we see, you know, Tilda scrambles up the mountain after Finn, and then she looks behind her at Finn. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, take it away. Legitimacy in question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we know what the problem is, who's affected by it, and why it can only be solved with magic. Like,
yeah. Which one?
Yeah. I did not at all think when I was planning my words, like, what if I have to identify who is the real person here? Whoa. Okay. Oh god. I know what word I'm going to contribute. I'm going to contribute ghoul, darkness. Because I think we're trying to find something dark here. Something sinister. And it's helping.
Okay, I could use... I have shadow, which is similar to darkness. That there might be a way to assist, or I could use light. And we could potentially have that help by like
Making a contrast.
yeah.
Which is light, which is dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have Caprice Daylight, which doesn't have the same connotation as light, but
kind of want to test the other side of the mechanics.
You want to hinder it?
I do. Maybe I'll use Shadow to hinder it, to obscure the results, as it were.
Okay.
Up to you which fucking Finn is doing this to.
Who knows?
Who knows? Legitimacy is in question.
Oh boy. So you've contributed darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And Jess is hindering with shadow.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
God, this is so fucked up. Because here's the thing. One of them could be evil, and the other could be good. And that doesn't necessarily mean we were traveling with the good one. Like,
or maybe they're both good. Maybe they're both evil. You don't know.
yeah.
No. I don't know, and it scares me.
All right, what's it gonna be, Tilda?
Maybe lightning, actually.
You're gonna zap him?
Could you use like lightning to pierce the darkness?
Yeah, something like that. Like, I don't know, to create a similar effect, idea of contrast that might bring out the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If we can see that working that way. Or I have daylight, which...
Yeah, you could also have it be like, that a more metaphorical sense, like when you have a sudden realization and it feels like you were struck by lightning, like that could be awesome.
So to like supercharge the epiphany of which one is real.
Yeah, you're struck by the truth, hopefully. All right, and which word was that?
Le.
All right. I think this is I don't know. What do y'all think? Is it like, are we striking through the shadows to discover the dark?
Probably.
Mm-hmm. And I can see Jess's hindrance in this case being the thing that blocks that from completing.
Yeah, it's this realization versus the veil of shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to recite the magic words?
Sure. So yeah, I think we see. I think as we see like Tilda's alarm at evil ? Finn.
Shadow Finn.
Shadow Finn. And what is Talmar's reaction to this? Or Thrallmar's reaction to this, God.
Thrallmar, what is his reaction? I think Thrallmar closes his eyes. I think he's like his process of discovery is an inward one. Mm-hmm. And so I think as he
he's like being all Jedi Master about it.
Yeah, as he lends himself to this spell, I think he's hoping to hear the answer resonate within.
Okay. I think as we see Tilda kind of be confused and not okay with this situation and do the double take, and Thrallmar is looking inward to sort things out. We see Finn, as always, a little bit delayed in responding because he's not quite there. Sort of like comes up and is like, "What? Me? And so he sort of, as they're providing the words, he sort of plucks them and recites, and he starts to say le, but the other Finn shouts out Hekato, and it sort of interrupts with this just like thunderous punctuation in the air. It's the most powerful you've ever heard his voice sound. And then he quickly fires back, Ghoul!
Do we see like a plume of shadow usher out toward us?
Yeah, I think we literally see the shadow underneath Shadowfin just like spring up to life.
Heck yes.
All right, you're gonna roll 2d6 and a d4.
Okay, this is fine. 6, 6, and a 3 on the d4.
Oh my god!
What does that mean?
Okay, so the sabotage only succeeds if there are no 6s and a 4 is rolled on the d4.
Okay.
Okay. But with at least 1 6, and you got 2, the spell is successful and it does what it means to do. The truth is revealed. We are struck by this realization. What is describe
Okay.
the spell's magic
Okay.
and how the problem is solved.
I think I think that shadow that got summoned up is just torn straight through and blown apart. But we still see the other Finn standing there, and I think we see the two of them actually sort of lock eyes as the magic just dissipates and falls quietly. There's sort of a long bit of silence, a tense bit of silence. And there's recognition. Neither one says anything. And the other Finn walks away, and the one that was with you is left looking very startled, as if he has had a revelation and he is still processing it. That was me.
That was you?
That was me.
Why was it you?
Another place, another time, another me. I don't know.
I don't think Tilda would pry, but seeing him distraught, she would definitely try to be a comfort to him, you know. Just like pat his shoulder or something, I don't know, just like let him process and let him know that someone is there with him.
Okay. I don't know if it's okay, but I'm gonna say it's okay.
I think
Yeah.
Thralmar says, you need not say anything. You do not yet have the words to describe what you have learned. And that is okay.
That's right.
Yes.
And then he walks off cryptically.
Cool. He's like, and I walk away.
I said a thing, and I leave the scene. This is what I do.
Yeah, but Tilda definitely stays with him for as long as he's distraught. So
I think we sort of see Finn just like sit down right there in the tundra and snow, and is just sort of like, and he's sort of puzzling it out in like very distracted, vaguely distressed, and that's probably a good spot to close that on.
Yeah.
Please choose a word to preserve.
So, what was Le was lightning, right?
Yeah.
And Ghoul was darkness.
Wait.
Let's preserve lightning, I guess, since
All right.
I think, yeah, because in character we see those two there, and I think that word is still sort of Finn still has just like a loose grasp on it, and I think he just kind of hands it blankly back to Tilda.
Nice.
Oh. Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take your location card. And let me. I'll deal a card for you. Your location, Tilda, is. Ooh, I like this one. Hunter's Peak, a new companion.
We're finding a new friend?
Maybe.
Is it the guy we just met? Because I don't know if I like him.
I think he walked away.
Yeah.
We could be meeting someone new. It could be someone becoming a companion in a way they weren't before.
I do like the idea of someone appealing, but I like the idea of interpreting this card to mean our current crew finding a common ground that they can share. Maybe Finn and Tilda, because he's been distraught, have had a chance to actually bond with each other. Beyond him doing creepy shit like stealing magic from a tree,
I'm sure he's fine. There's nothing weird going on here.
No, it's fine. I don't know, the end of that, make it something where we all find common ground together. But...
Nah.
Nah?
Thromar's not necessary.
What?
Thromar's not necessary. You kids have your friendship.
And I don't really think a scene needs to be touched on for this necessarily, but I do think we see them walking, and I think they're still following the river. Wherever the heck that's led them at this point. And we see Thramar like a few paces away, being super watchful middle wizard.
Watchful badass grandpa.
What is this place then? What is Hunter's Peak?
So if we're continuing to follow the river up into the mountain, or something.
It seems like we kind of came through a mountain, and then we were at a level like a valley maybe, and now we're going up another, like further into mountain? The mountains.
So maybe Hunter's Peak. Oh, maybe Hunter's Peak is a really steep rock face that there's no pass through around, like going around would take ages, so they just decide to climb, and this peak is at like a 45-degree angle.
Oh god, somebody's gonna have to carry Finn.
And I think that's like super buff middle grandpa might have it handled. But the two spindly kids are helping each other out, maybe.
I'm pretty sure like Finn was only distracted as long as until he fell on his freaking face. Like dipped it hard.
And it maybe it's like mostly anyway, but these two find common ground and struggling up a 45-degree angle together.
I love it.
This is really hard, huh?
Well, and you have to you both have to help each other, right?
Yeah.
Thramar can just climb and he's fine.
Buff as hell.
And the two of you have to lean on each other, literally.
Here, give me your hand, I'll lift your foot, you go up ahead of me, okay. That kind of thing.
Nice. Are you ready for a problem?
I am ready for a problem. I'm satisfied with my scene.
Okay. How have we not gotten any of the bad cards? Okay, so here's the thing. There are cards with extra text. They make up a third of the deck. We have gotten none of them.
Did you shuffle the deck?
I did! And even, like, the non-shuffled order has them randomly dispersed. Alright, well, our problem is dark thoughts given life.
So that's fine.
So, what's that mean? Tilda?
I mean, we saw literally a dark version of Finn not so long ago.
Or a future version of Finn, maybe?
Or a future version?
Past future Finn, we're not sure.
I don't know.
I mean, I know.
Yeah.
I imagine we'll see later.
So, dark thoughts given life.
Is Tilda having bad dreams?
Ah.
Can they be made real because she makes her own fucking magic?
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
Ooh!
Okay, Dark Thoughts
that's
Given
so
Life.
good.
We have made it up to the top of Hunter's Peak. We have found a level camping ground and have taken up roost, however it is that wizards sleep. I don't know. Thrallmar is like hanging upside down in a tree with its cloak wrapped around him.
Thrallmar just stands at the edge of the peak and stares out into the distance for the entire night.
He just, like, meditates.
Yeah, like his robe
Okay.
whipping around him. And at the bottom, the subtitle says, slow, heavy metal music playing.
Just, like, chugging guitar.
Dude. Yep.
You need to make his playlist, you realize now.
God damn it, you're right.
So, so the other two are like cuddled around fire, whatever they do. And Tilda has drifted off to sleep. And I think in the flickering firelight in the darkness, we hear first the shadows starting to whisper, and then a claw emerges from the shadow and latches onto the rock next to it and starts to pull itself out.
Cool. That's fine.
And then we see the red eyes pop open. And Tilda is starting to look kind of distressed in her sleep, I think.
Okay. Finn probably hasn't noticed. I'm sure he's, like, thinking about himself, and not in the, like, arrogant way, in the I'm scared way.
Right. Oh, fuck. I don't have darkness anymore.
That's right. I didn't let you keep it.
Shit. Okay.
I have daylight, so I'm gonna be using that here. That seems appropriate, but I have to wake up first, so...
Yeah, you're asleep.
I think,
I have fire.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I think, I only have... How many words do I have left?
I've got 4.
I feel like I... Oh, I didn't... I need to uncross off Destati from my list. That's right. I have 3. I think frustration is what I'm going to use. And I think I'm giving us something to target. And that's the frustration and the fear, the also that is being manifest. So that's Thruz.
I've also got Undune, which is light.
Oh.
I think I can use that to help this time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am helping.
Let's make that clear. I'm not the jerk Finn right now.
Okay. I can't contribute when... I don't know, she's sleeping.
I mean,
so...
you don't have to contribute a word.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, at least one word must be contributed, but not by each person.
Okay, so I think it makes sense here not to contribute a word and to let the spell go the way it is.
She's still heckin' asleep, and
All
I
right.
think Finn probably will notice an attack.
Yeah, I think that means so we cast our words to you in your sleep. What order are they in? So we have light and we have frustration.
I think it makes, like, it feels appropriate for frustration to come first as sort of like something that's scattering whatever's happening here. And then the light comes in and
disperses the
scurry
shadow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think Thru's Andua is what obviously she can't say herself because she's asleep, but what she hears.
Well, you can say it in your sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
There's something.
And it's, I think especially given a lot of the power that's been happening thus far, this is a murmuring, through Zandua in one sleep, regardless of how that sounds shouted across a dreamscape. But yeah. And that's what it looks like, is it looks like the shadows being harried into particles, and then the light comes in and
yeah.
So let's see how that even works.
Roll 2d6.
Yeah, that doesn't work super well. Great.
All right. So describe how the problem is solved, but only partially or temporarily.
I think she wakes up.
So it's gone because she woke up, not necessarily because the magic worked.
I think it only goes away until the next time she goes to sleep.
Oh, that's fine.
Nice.
I don't feel distinctly familiar with this.
This sounds like Tilda isn't sleeping for the rest of the game.
Also, if I may add, I think when Tilda wakes up, it doesn't look like Finn noticed anything or contributed anything. He was just reading.
You just like reflexively gave your word.
Or was it him?
God damn it. Motherfuck.
We brought the wrong one. We have to go
back. Which word would you like to? Actually, I think in the interest of time, let's not preserve words for the rest of our journey.
Let's burn them down.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's getting hecka late.
Yes.
Flip throughs.
We unfortunately found 2 very good games.
Whoops. All right.
Or made
do we think we can conclude this in another round?
I think we can conclude this in like one more round. How many cards do you have left?
Yeah.
I have 3.
You have 3. I have 2.
I have 3.
Yeah. We can do this in one more round of turns.
Okay.
So here is Hunter's Peak for you.
Thank you.
Let me pull that off screen and give myself a new location. We are journeying next to the Marsh of the Wizards.
Oh boy.
The prompt is what remains. The Marsh of the Wizards is a swath of wet, brown and gray land. And it's a marsh in name only, almost, because nothing lives here. It's just mud. And it's called the Marsh of the Wizards because after magic was given, or after the power of magic was given to people, and they infused that power into their words, this is the site of the first battle between wizards. And there's a reason that Thrallmar is Thrallmar the Unbroken, not Thrallmar the Wizard. And Finn is Finn the Distracted and not Finn the Wizard. And Tilda is Tilda the Bright and not Tilda the Wizard, because there are no more wizards. There were 2, and they fought here. And now there are no more. And what remains is this dead reminder of what the wrong words can do, and the shape of those 2 words spoken in anger against each other left in the earth. Let's have a problem.
Cool. I really didn't want to break the narrative, but of course a wizard battle made me immediately think of epic spell battle of the spell wars of the battle wizards.
I'm gonna look at the deck and see if they're just all at the bottom or something. This is killing me.
Do you want to just grab one to like?
No, I'm not gonna cheat at my own game. Okay, I just wanna look. I just wanna. Where is it? Nope, wrong deck. Problem deck. There we go. Show. Disabled. No, show fronts. There we go. Choose. Look. No, they're not all at the end. Okay, sure. We just, fuck, man. Okay, so the problem is the Ancient One will soon pass.
Oh, excellent.
That seems fine.
And I think in this case, will soon pass does not mean they will soon die. I think it means they will come through this place soon.
Ooh.
Oh no.
And the Ancient One, is the enemy of mortal magic. The Ancient One was born from the envy and the jealousy of all those creatures. When the first magic was given to people, those creatures that were left and felt scorned because their words didn't carry that power, all of that dark energy, all of those dark feelings were caught up and manifest in this massive creature that is coming soon to the Marsh of the Wizards. And I think as we're walking across this sort of solemn place, Thrallmar stops and says, the Ancient One will arrive here soon. There is not time for us to cross the marsh before it arrives. Not at this pace.
What do you mean?
And Thrallmar turns and points back at the mountain that they were just on. And there's this enormous humanoid in that it has a torso, but many, many arms. This creature of pure darkness climbing over the mountain.
Sick.
And
Cool.
I think we need to cast some magic because we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to commit Destiny
Mm.
to this, and I'm actually going to commit it as a hindering word. I think Thromar is trying to help, but our destiny is not to win here.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think I have earth, earth, stone. Might be able to do something with the mountain to bar this thing from coming sooner.
Mine are all weather related.
What do you have?
Do we think a storm would help here?
Can I just throw a storm at it?
I mean, it could be a storm of stone.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Ooh. Aw, do they do magic together? How cute.
Yeah. We do magic together. I like that. Storm of stone.
Boop.
All right. What's your word, Tilda?
Dri. D-R-I.
Okay. Choose Dri. And I think the order here is like
Is Destati last?
Yeah, I think it's like storm of stone.
And Destiny's just like nope.
Like safeguard our destiny, I think is what he's trying to do. Or like storm of stone protect our destined path. Mm-hmm. It's just that our destined path here is not good. So he speaks, and as he does, the mud rises around us, and like in droplets forming these runes in like the thousands across the entire marsh.
Ooh.
As
Epic.
as the sound, the silent words, gifted with elemental power and light from his companions, ring out, Dri Bur Destati. 2d6 plus 1d4. And as he speaks, of course no sound comes from him, but a whisper echoes from each of these runes hanging in the air across the marsh. And we can hear Dria Bur across the landscape. And as Thromor struggles to hold this power and give it form, every rune that says Destati shatters and falls to the ground, and the rest of them form into stones, like solidify and become sharp and fly in this massive storm that blocks out the sun and pierces the Ancient One, pinning it to the mountain, where it will remain for all time.
Nice.
And then we lose all of our words.
Bye, word.
Bye.
Bye.
Dri and Bur. And flip. And then
So
I
are
get to
these
keep
two
this
just
one.
kind of looking on like, whoa.
Whoa. I think that that definitely had like a we did a big magic feeling to it.
Uh-huh.
And in like a really big like shifting way.
Uh-huh.
And I think Tilda just sort of is like looking at her hands and then looking around at the marsh like, did we do that? Did we pin an ancient god to stone?
Yeah, and I think Finn we see is like looking at that thing with a strange level of focus.
Oh no.
He's thinking.
Oh boy. All right. Jess, would you like to take?
Sure, I'll take my turn.
Things have been going so well.
Everything is fine. Finn is fine. It's all good. Crystal, oh. Yep, okay.
Ooh, I love this one. This is the first card I made.
Aw.
Oh,
Um,
significant.
Crystal Woods, Pieces of the Past.
Oh.
This is a good time to have this card. We might learn some things.
Ooh.
So, after that BFM, the big fucking magic.
Big fucking magic.
I think our trio of wizards have probably had to take it a little easier, and they've made it beyond the marsh, and we see them. You know, we get the Lord of the Ringsy like flyover montage of them traveling, and we follow them into these crystal woods, which. Honestly, I'm really picturing those like crystal, the like crystal song forest or whatever the hell it is in WoW.
From Wrath of the Lich King. Yep.
Yeah, where it's just like real snowy and the trees are like made of crystallized arcane power.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, we're just gonna straight steal that because it's amazing and I loved that place.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite zones.
So everything has this very glimmery, shimmery quality to it, and I think we do see like the river that we've been following all this time. This is getting closer to where it was sourced, but it's dry here. We see the dry riverbed, and the snow has kind of filled it and almost obscured it. In fact, there's probably just this one slightly comedic moment where Finn finds it because he fell in it.
Yep.
Yep. I found the river.
Your inattentiveness again.
Goodness.
Although sometime after that, as they're walking, we see him kind of stop and look around. And I think he starts sort of just rattling off a story about how this place got this way. Talking about when magic was first created and gifted to creatures, how the creatures that first received it used it with indiscretion, and it like the earth itself rose up in anger, and that's where these spiny trees of magical energy were basically the earth rejecting the creatures on it in response. And that it also sort of ended up taking out a lot of people who were not yet magical at the time and couldn't survive that onslaught. Except there was one who tried to harness that power and fight back. And he starts talking about that in the first person. Without really like seeming to be conscious of that. The story somewhere shifted from this person like
and then he
starts becoming, and then I tried to and he starts rattling it off. And then he sort of looks around with a very sad amount of clarity and just sort of looks at everything around him and doesn't seem like he recognizes the two of them at first. And we can find our problem now.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Woo.
Boop.
Son of a bitch. I think we might get one of the really bad ones. But I love this. A bargain's mystical terms. How do you keep getting the perfect cards, Jess?
No, it's real weird. Because I'm really just stealing an OC from another story of mine. And these are working. I don't have to change anything.
Finn is our main character, man.
Lynn has the insight on this. She knows exactly what the fuck I'm doing. Ooh. So yes, the problem here is as he continues the story, he explains. I tried to stop all of it. I reached out to the source. I seized it and bargained with a being. Memories are indistinct. It's scattered. This is just one outcome. One of many. I have seen all of them. I'm in all of them. The me we saw was me from another one of these threads, these branches, these rivers. Backwards, forwards, I don't know which me is me anymore. I should go, I think.
No. And Tilda grabs his hand, and I don't think being alone is going to make it any easier. Is there something we can do to make you?
I don't think so. And because, hey, hella dramatic timing. Hey, look, there's the other one we see from around the tree. And I think it's time to do some magic because he's about to do some magic.
So what is the problem, and how can we solve it with magic?
I think the problem is we have our good boy here is split across realities that he splintered.
Interesting.
So
okay,
time to tie a knot.
All right.
Or fix that. He made some time loops to stop a bad thing from happening. Do we have any words that can fix that?
I do.
I really don't. Elements are not real helpful in this case. I burned all my...
I have one word. And it is Hinla, which means healing.
Oh shit.
And Thrallmar will give you his last word.
Oh, snaps.
I have Kepris, and because you gave me life, and I would like to keep life because you gave it back to me. Kepris means daylight.
Ooh.
So, and I think with the knowledge that light can reveal so many things and can perhaps unify so many things, Tilda gives this word.
Okay.
All right, so that's Lay.
Yep. I have nothing that can help.
No, that is Kepris. I'm
Kepris,
giving
sorry.
Kepris. Yeah.
Kepris.
Keeping Lay. Lay's special.
Aww.
Right.
I think I'll just play this pretty straight and let other Finn use Dror to hinder because he's probably just straight up casting some fire magic.
He's just attacking.
Yes.
Right.
He's just interrupting this.
Maybe
or trying to burn away the healing.
Maybe it's Jiror first. It's like he gets the drop on us.
Yeah, yeah. I like that.
So he's like trying to burn, and I'm trying to heal with.
Yup.
Yeah, with the light. Yes. All right.
Okay. So yeah,
Um,
I think that's we basically like we hear him come out with that word drawer.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose you two provide the words to other Finn as this fire is coming at him, and he says, "Hinla Kefris," and we'll roll the dice and see what happens.
2d6, 1d4. Did you get no sixes and get a 4 on the d4?
Oh my god!
If none of the dice rolls a 6, but one of the 4-sided dice shows a 4, the spell fails, and one of the sabotaging players, which is, there's only one, describes how the magic goes awry.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, well, I think that drawer is just too powerful. It burns right through those other two words, or burns them out of reach, and continues in its journey to your Finn. And we see it basically just consume him.
All right. You also get to look at the next card, which is...
Oh god.
You can decide, do you leave it on the top, or do you put it in the bottom? Discarding it, essentially.
Discard a location card. I don't quite
So we've been picking, after your turn, you pick up a location card and you keep it. We're going to use this at the end of the game.
Okay.
So if the spell fails, which means someone would have to sabotage, if the spell fails on this next one, then every player has to discard one of those location cards that you've kept.
Okay. Oof.
Because, in a sense, that place no longer exists, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so
do you want
I guess...
to put it on top or put it on the bottom?
Does it... What does either one do?
So if you put it on the top, it means that it'll be the next problem, right?
Oh, okay.
It'll be the
Gotcha.
problem on Julie's turn.
Gotcha.
Or if you put it on the bottom, because we're not going to go through the entire problems deck, we just don't... We get to skip this problem. That's the good thing that can come from sabotaging is you can avoid these potentially bad. All right, so I'm just gonna put it in the discard pile. If you're putting it on the bottom.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Did you want to?
I was thinking of putting it on top.
Well, okay. Let's just set it to the side here. We'll hold on to that. Go ahead and take crystal woods into your hand, and what will likely be our final turn here. Your location, Tilda.
Oh, jeez.
Is the Dread Forest.
Did we just convert the Crystal Forest?
I think that's what happened.
And the prompt is what we share.
Oh my god.
Sorry?
Okay. Cool.
Yes, you still have a Finn here, so don't worry, it's fine.
A Finn?
The other one is still there.
He is. Okay.
Fire Finn.
Fire Finn.
Cool. Alright. So forgive me if I could take another look at the problem card.
Yeah, it's Dread Forest. Or the problem card. The problem hasn't come up yet.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's what we see happen after Finn the Distracted is struck down. This encounter doesn't break. Things just begin to shift. And I think we see like the arcane light that's being given off on these trees slowly starts to corrupt with whatever might be happening here. And it may not necessarily be anything that Finn's doing. It may just be like a natural reaction of the forest to like the charged things that are happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay.
So we're continuing conflict.
So
I've set the scene.
the problem is the path erased. If the spell fails, meaning if a sabotaging word is contributed and it prevails over a helping word, if the spell fails, all participating players, so everyone that contributes a word, must discard a location card. I have no more words. So
I have one more word.
You do. Do you help or do you hinder?
That depends on what she tries to do.
Appropriately. I have one word left.
Oh
And
no. Oh.
Is this just straight up a fucking spell battle? Because I have Callum, which is air.
They're the words you gave each other back.
No. Oh. This is the worst.
Oh my god.
This is the worst, but also the best.
We didn't even plan for that.
No.
God, okay. So, and this is it. Like, this is the last word, and I think, I think her concept is to strike. You know.
Well, she just watched good question mark Finn get burned to cinders.
Yeah, I think the thing that would be on her mind is destruction.
Oh.
Are you helping or hindering?
Gonna fight back. So hinder.
But you can both hinder here.
Oh god. What happens if we do that?
Well, either you get a middling result if neither of them are 4, or if one of them is 4, then the bad stuff happens.
Okay.
That seems appropriate.
Are you hindering them?
We're just hindering each other.
It's just hindering each other.
Because the problem is this destruction of reality, right? The path erased.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So by destroying. All right. So your words are Le and Callum. What order would you like them to be in?
I think Le comes out first. Maybe. So what does the other Finn do? As his darkness is encroaching on the forest and everything.
I suspect he might actually be responsible for it. We probably see him just with one hand on one of these trees that still seems to have the magic, and it's just bleeding up into it.
Okay, so I think she's going to
Important question.
look at. Yeah.
Is the darkness bleeding into it, or is he pulling the light out of it?
He's pulling the light out of it.
Excellent.
Me on my bullshit.
Okay, so I just had changes things. I don't necessarily think she's targeting him.
Ooh. Is she gonna try to bust the tree?
She's targeting the tree. Yeah, she's trying to put the light back in the tree using lightning.
Oh.
Okay.
It's the last word she has, which would technically still be hindering him.
Well, so
yeah.
The thing is, like, the it's whether you're solving the problem or not, right?
Yeah.
So maybe your goal, like her in-character goal, is to use this lightning to empower the trees, but really all she's going to do is damage them further, right?
Like potentially just shatter them, and that magic just goes somewhere.
So
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and recite the spell, describe its effects, and roll your dice.
Okay. So just establishing because I am rolling real dice. It's Tilda.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think Leh comes out, and then we hear perhaps Callum
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
reaction to that.
Yeah. We see him
Yeah.
kind of say it
Try to
and probably
let.
like do a wind wall thing to like rebuff what she does,
Hmm.
what she throws his way.
Neither of those was a 4.
If no dice show their highest number, the spell is weak and only partially effective. The current player describes how the problem is solved, so it is solved, but only partially or temporarily. We are not going
Um.
to have to discard any cards.
Okay. So I think the lightning knocks him back, and
Mm-hmm.
but they're also knocked back by this wind wall.
Mhm.
I think so. It ends in a stalemate with both of them getting knocked on their asses,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Yep.
um. So yeah, I think that's what happened.
This one was light, yeah. Okay. And you get to receive the Dread Forest. Dread. Let me drop that here for you. And I think at this point, Thrallar puts a hand on your shoulder and says, "Our journey is complete. It is time we go home."
But it's not complete. We haven't won.
And he doesn't say anything.
Problems solved. The problem's not solved. Find his. Well, technically he's right over there, but what is the other Finn doing right now?
Probably getting back on his feet and dusting off.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Wasted time. No matter. There are other places like this. You should go home.
So.
Yeah, and I think like she has no more words left. Quite literally. So.
After the last words are used to cast a spell, no more cards are drawn. Each player takes an additional turn to share what they learned about magic over the course of the journey. So, I'll start.
It's something else.
What I learned about magic is that it has a will of its own. No matter what words we use to shape it, it has its own wants that will come through.
Okay.
Jess?
I think...
/ Finn, if you want to do it in character.
I don't think so, because he's clearly pieced out of the equation at this point. Or at least that version. Well, one is dead. It's... Anyway, I think the lesson that some version of Finn learned, magic comes at a very, very high and often unpredictable cost.
And what did you learn?
Magic is unforgiving if you don't use it carefully.
Then we go around in reverse order, playing our location cards and describing what we see as we take the path home. So, starting with the Dread Forest.
Oh God.
Great. Fun. I think there's a scar left from in the tree where the lightning struck. And I think Tilda passes her hand over that scar. Maybe hopes that the word is there, but it's not. And they keep going.
Finn?
I'm trying to find...
Just click the little green...
There it is. I just had to figure out which one it was.
Yeah.
Well, he's not there, but I can describe what y'all see.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think passing over passing through the Dread Forest area, you get back to a fragment of these woods that was untouched, that the magic didn't reach quite that far yet, so it's still technically the Crystal Woods, where the river had run through. And I think in that ditch where Finn fell, you find like, I don't know, he probably had some sort of focus or some sort of like object that he tended to keep about him, like a little, we'll say like a little worry stone that he tended to use when he was just like absently thinking. And at first you think it's just like a river rock, but you realize it's that one he always had, because it was a very specific type of stone. If either of one of you would take it and keep it.
I don't
Thalmor need a worry stone?
I don't think Thalmor would.
Tilda would. I think she picks it up and pockets it.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll find a spin to give it back to.
Maybe.
And as we continue on, we pass through the Marsh of the Wizards, and I think we see this place as dead as it ever was. And but as we walk through, Tilda, with this worry stone, every step that you take through the marsh, a little bit of the mud rises up, and you can faintly hear, as if whispering across the land, Finn's name.
Rude.
That's fine. That's fine. How's Thalmor do?
He's fine.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's serious and beardy.
He's seriously beardy. All right, Tilda. What was your next card?
The Hunter's Peak.
Oh man.
Oh, nightmares.
Oh man. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Wait, no, I didn't. I don't need this deck. That's right. I put them all at the bottom because I'm smart. All right. Hunter's Peak. What do we see as we climb this mountain that we assaulted?
I think it's much the same as we left it, and perhaps it's daylight now, so the shadows aren't so scary. And there's the remains of the fire pit that the kid sat next to while Grandpa stared out into the horizon with slow heavy metal playing.
God. I do love that image, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the new companion thing on this card makes me want to be nicer, but
Oof. I think, if you don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
I think as we pass the ancient one, where it's pinned to this mountain, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the the aura of rage that once emanated from it has been replaced by one of just pitiable, forlorn sorrow.
ooh.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just looking at chat immigrant song for Thrallmar. That's when he's casting magic.
Excuse me, it's the, oh god, was it System of a Down? No, it wasn't. Who did the Sound of Silence cover?
Oh, I don't remember.
Cuz it's that song.
Oh, that's
Let's
fair.
be real.
Was Whispering Fjord next? I think it was.
Yeah. Ooh, what do we see there?
Hmm. Trying to remember if we never really specified if the water got fixed.
No.
Nope.
So I think as you're following the fjord back, there's the traces and the footfalls and things of where Shadowfin, where you first met him, and this blackened water is further than you remember it going. It has grown in its path. And other than that, no signs of anything.
All right. And then we pass through Fracture. Nope. We got something out of order. No, was Fracture next? Yeah, that's right, because that's where the Jinn problem was. Yeah.
Yep.
Fracture, once known for the roots that broke through the stone, now perhaps for the cracks in the crystal that remains. I think the crystal is still here. The crystal of Ozarkai, with its myriad cracks and crevices. But the light that comes from it now pulses slowly. And as it pulses, you feel a vibration, like a sound almost, from the worry stone in your hands, Tilda.
Yeah.
With each pulse, a little shake. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Oh boy, now we're off to Aethrazaya, right?
Mm-hmm. The Silent City.
Cool.
That's the thing we did, huh?
Yep.
So, walking back through Aethrazaya, it's been a pretty quiet walk back across the board, I think.
Thrallmar doesn't seem very talky.
Not really.
So, and I think it's just like it's punctuated by just how still everything in Aethrazaya is as they walk. And I think we do hear Tilda, like, you know, kick a rock or something and murmurs, like, sound of your words or something like that. You know, whatever she said at the end of that scene on their way through the first time.
Yeah. Oof.
And they keep going.
There's one last place that we must stop on our road.
Yep. Oh, when you're done moving the cards, I will.
Yeah. There's just literally not enough space.
Okay. Diamond River.
What do we see, Jess?
I think you follow the river back. The dried up river, the darkness has not yet made it here as you find your way to the village that's not far from the river, passing through. And I think while briefly staying there, there's a commotion that happens, and they've pulled somebody from the river, and it's a very familiar face. He doesn't recognize you guys at all, but it is unquestionably Finn the Distracted. Not Finn the Dark.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a name for that other one.
I think perhaps with Finn's confusion, like, who are you people? What's going on? Thrallmar will say, "You should come with us. There is a university with much knowledge, many words for you to learn."
Well, seems like good advice. All right. I'll follow you then.
Great.
And I think he sort of is just like, oh, Finn. I think that's my name. I remember that much.
Yeah. Tilda, and it feels awkward because it's our Finn.
Or at least it seems to be.
It seems to be. Anyway, I think she holds on to the worry stone. We'll present. So, yeah, she keeps it. But definitely, yeah, there's a university. There's so much to learn there, and maybe you can tell me some of the things you learned because I can't get in. You know. Anyway, okay.
And we arrive home, back in the city of the elves. When you arrive home, sit in silence. Maintaining this silence, every player writes a short phrase on their index card that starts with, "My words are," to indicate how your words have changed through sharing. All right. The game is now over.
Okay.
And that is spoken magic.
Very good game.
You did a...
You made a thing and it's pretty fucking great.
Thanks.
Amazing. Wow.
Wow.
So sharing your phrase is intentionally not a part of the game. It is, the game ends at that point because it doesn't happen in the game, but at that point the game no longer has any hold over you. I want to share mine. You can choose not to share yours if you don't want to. But Thrallmar started this journey, and when he did, his words were formed of nothingness. And at the end, his words the phrase I wrote is, "My words tell the path of destiny."
Ooh. I can share mine. Given all the interesting things we learned about Finn's situation,
So many.
we started with my words are elemental, which apparently he seemed to have mastery just over the basic elements. Fairly conventional in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And we end with my words are eternal because he seems to be unending
Yes.
and multitudinous.
Oh, I love that.
Goodness.
Oh, that's so good. Okay.
I feel like Tilda's still kind of on her journey, but
You
she
can
started out
keep
with
it to yourself if you
yeah. We could share the midway point with you guys.
want.
She started out with her words being profane in the sense that they were like not approved of by society.
Mm-hmm.
And this has so many different branching points off of it to begin with, so we won't even go there. But I think she ends at least with my words are stronger than I think they are. You know.
Yes.
Our little witch.
Oh.
Making her own words and powerful they can be.
Hell yes.
Even though the Academy would literally hammer this out.
Yeah. Whoops.
Oh well. Yeah.
Thank you both so much for playing my game with me.
Thank you.
That sure was a great game.
That was.
We told a heck of a tale.
Yeah.
And I love the difference in flavor we had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know who Thralmar was literally until that last location. That was because the moment there were no more words, and he couldn't give anything to the spell, I knew that he knew about the entire journey before they went on it. Like,
oh my god.
Holy shit.
Like, he knew what the end point was. And I, like, going through, at no point was I like, oh yeah, Thralmar knows what he's doing. I was just like, he's going along and doing the things, but at that end point, I was like, oh, this is who he is. This is what all of this meant. Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah, he said a bunch of cryptic shit that ended up working rather well.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, yeah.
And I loved that we started from this place where I was expecting this to be just fucking silly. Right? Like, we did sort of a reverse thing from Ancient Stones, or like I thought we were going to, where you were like, Ancient Stones, it's calm, it's relaxing, and then we were like, drama.
Every Disney movie.
And we started with like Heavy Metal Grandpa and like Light Witch with rainbows, who was like societally super dark in a way, and literally a guy named Finn the Distracted.
Right?
And I was like, this is a game that I made to be serious, and it's gonna be so fucking silly.
And look what we did.
Look what we did.
We
Look at this path
hurt
that
ourselves.
we took.
Great.
I will fully confess I intentionally threw a curveball.
No, I liked it. The moment you were like, oh yeah, and then there's a second Finn. I was like, oh yeah. And because my thought at that moment was like, I can't wait to come back to this place and see, like, do we see that same scene but from the other side? Like, what happens here when we come back to this place? Ah. Y'all fucking yeah. Y'all killed it.
Yeah.
This is very good.
Thank you.
Very easy to play through and digest, and there's a lot that you can do with these different pieces and parts.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really well guided too. Like if someone who is less experienced with like role play or card prompt games, it wouldn't be overwhelming to approach because there's a very like delineated course that you go on. So that's nice.
Yeah. And the prompts are good prompts in that like they're very evocative, but they're just open enough that you can really go wherever with them. Which is the trick of card prompt games.
Yeah, that was because like if you look at Dialect's prompts are really pointed, I feel. And it works because they're built into an aid structure, right? And the game knows what it's doing every time. But this is like this is an undirected journey through a magical place. And so,
God, as we got closer to the end, man, those cards felt so appropriate every time.
Yeah. And I think like partially luck of the draw, but it's also just like if your prompts are just right, you know, you look at something like Crystal Forest and your brain just lights up. You know.
I can also say like because like I said, I threw you guys a curveball. I was like, yes, I'm gonna use one of my arch villains from one of my other games, things that I play, and trick y'all because he's real sweet sometimes. And I knew what that character journey already was, and I was gonna see like how much of it I could retain through this game. I didn't have to change a damn thing, and the card prompts worked fucking perfectly.
I love it. Yggdrasil was my favorite place, I think. Like the description of this city in the mountains where the wind whistles through and whispers magic.
That's like some Call of Cthulhu level bullshit right there.
Yeah, but also like so I'm not gonna lie, if ever I'm at a loss in a Ryutama game for where to go next, I'm just gonna draw a card. And be like, here's a weird place. How are we here?
Honestly, like what we literally just played through, like you could turn that into a setting.
Yeah.
For like a Ryutama game or some other journey focused.
You could totally Black Ryujin that.
Oh god, yeah. Yep. This was a Black Ryujin campaign.
So the other two Arcanum, which we didn't use, are Your Words Are Stolen and Your Words Are Restorative.
Oh my god. Stolen.
That would have been real good for Tilda.
That would have been really good for any of us.
Yeah. Excellent. So I want to play both of these games again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bummed that we only got one big bad problem card. Because some of the other ones, I'm not gonna go through all of them obviously, but some of the other ones, will this be a big bad problem one? Nope. That one's Deadly Beauty. I like that one. Here we go. A Hungering Fog. Each participating player loses an additional word.
That's my
god. Haunting Past. Here, do I still have choose turned on? Yeah, here. An Ancient Curse. One word must be profane or hindering. So this is why the profane was important. And there's one other. Is it this one? Yeah, Fading Wards. So Ancient Curse and Fading Wards have one word must be profane or hindering, and one word must be restorative or protective. So if you don't have the profane arcanum or the restorative arcanum, you can just have a word that means something protective for Fading Words, or you can donate a word to hinder the spell for an Ancient Curse.
Nice. That's cool.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah. Thank you both so much, especially for staying up so late. It's
Yeah.
hell, it's hella late.
It's 2 a.m.
It's
I never got around to like doing my evening shower, so I'll be doing that in the morning. Which
Mm.
means getting up earlier.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It was worth it. Hashtag worth.
Hashtag worth. It was a
I
lot of fun.
I really liked this. I wanna play it again all the way through at some point. Now knowing how long it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, God, both of these games.
Ended up being much longer, I think, than either of us expected.
Yeah. We only went through two, like, each person only got 2 turns in Ancient Stones, and we each got 3 turns here.
Yeah, most of us got 3. I got 2 because I spent a shitload of words. It's like words.
Yeah, these games can carry on a lot longer than like you'd think when you're making them, is what I've learned.
Yeah. There's also like, and I think that speaks a lot to like the kind of thought they generate. It also has to do with like the people that are at the table. Like,
Yeah.
we're all on a particular kind of bullshit here.
And we're like doing full scenes with these.
Exactly. Like we can take one card and role play for like 30 minutes off of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could play this game just being like, this is what the place looks like. And then the only scene stuff is like, this is what the problem is, right? Where you describe, oh yes, the an inky darkness rises, and then we have to beat it back, and that could be like the only narrative.
Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
multi-campaign card games or multi-session card games. I think yes.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Like Ancient Stones, you could clearly run a campaign off of it, I think.
So I've been talking a little bit about starting up a new season of Fun Shots. So if you're watching this in chat and you're not aware, or if you're watching this on YouTube, more likely given how late it is, Fun Shots had a season where we had like a schedule and like certain games we were playing. That was season 1, and then we've sort of done these one-offs occasionally
On demand.
for just like, we want to play a game, this is what we run it under. But I've been talking about running a second season of Fun Shots. I want to have both of these games in it.
Down for it.
So yeah, thank you both so much. I'm gonna move us over to the screen now. Thank you also to chat for hanging out with us. Before we go, let's go around. Let's say who we are, where people can find us. Starting with Jess.
Sure. I am Jess, your resident player of all Garbage Can Boys forever on all streams. I also created Ancient Stones that we played in the first half of this rather long stream. It's not available anywhere yet, but it will be once I work the kinks out and figure out where to make it available and how. But in the meantime, it exists. That's all I got. You can follow me at Little Cup of Joe on Twitch and Twitter. On my Twitch channel, I also stream TRPGs, and you can usually find me here as well, playing games with Dylan and all the other fun things. So, yeah.
Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie. You can find me at Soft Signal on Twitter and on Twitch. I don't stream over much, but sometimes I pop up on other people's channels playing games like this one on Dylan's channel. This is my first time on Dylan's channel, I think, actually.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, oh, yeah.
We played a bunch together on Jess's channel.
Yeah.
Playing tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
today.
Later today.
Whatever.
It's fine. Later today, we'll be playing Kokiri-san over on Jess's channel, so if you're not following her Twitch, you totally should. The Ghost Club Antics run on Monster of the Week. It's good hijinks. It's great.
Do you like anime?
If you do, show up. Do you like drama? If you do, show up. Do you like magic? If you do, show up. We have all of these things for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Presumably you like magic because you've been sitting here for several hours watching this.
Yeah. Other than, playing games and stuff like that, I'm an artist mostly, and I just really like TTRPGs
Really
and
good
talking about them.
artist. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. And hello, I am Dylan Grinder, aka Anarsis. You can find me here, obviously, wherever you're watching this, on Twitch or on YouTube. I am Anarsis on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, all of the places. Also on, Patreon. You can support shows like this, and my other shows, and every other thing that I do. It's
I know, like trying to figure out which way to point. Yeah, over that way.
Via Patreon. Right now, the Patreon is set up not based on pledge levels where like you give X amount of money, you get X amount of rewards back, but as the whole community pledges collectively X amount, I give rewards back to everyone collectively. So we have hit our first goal, which has me doing a monthly giveaway of my RPG assets. So that's campaign maps with location markers and portrait token borders. Doing a monthly giveaway with one winner for every 100 Twitter followers I have. So it's a public giveaway that happens every month, and it scales based on the size of the community. So your chances are always roughly the same. We've hit that. The next goal, if we can get to it, is to have me release playtest documents of games that I'm working on, homebrew material for campaigns that I'm running, so stuff like my custom jobs that I have for Ryutama, that sort of thing. So if that interests you, take a look. If you want to buy this game that we just played, Spoken Magic, you actually can. It is on itch.io. You can look at that link in chat there. If I am a smart boy, I will put it in the top of the YouTube description too. But it's pretty easy. You can just go to anarsis.itch.io, and it is there. It's $3 minimum, $5 recommended, and that gets you a print and play PDF and the digital version, all of the image files for the cards if you want to load it into a virtual tabletop like Roll20. And this is actually the beginning of a weekend of games for me. As mentioned, I will be on Jess's channel tomorrow night at 7 Pacific.
7:30
at a time in the evening. Follow the Twitters, and we'll let you know.
7:30 Pacific.
Yeah.
I will also be back here on my own channel on Saturday at 5 Pacific for the next episode of From Dust, which is my Dungeon World campaign. A lot of this sort of like magical world building aesthetic that I put into Spoken Magic, I also put into From Dust. And our next episode, one of our players, her sister has been captured by an army of the undead, and so now the party is probably going to go try and, I don't know, fight an army of zombies? I'm not really sure what their plan is, but they want to get that NPC back. So it's going to be a good dramatic time. The best part being that she was captured because of Summer's actions. So that's fine. And then on Sunday at 6 Pacific, you can see me back here along with Jess and other fun people for the season finale of Ryoko Seo, aka Travel, our Ryutama game, and it's gonna be a whole heckin' thing. We've got so many threads coming to a head, but it's not just for people that have watched the whole show. Like, if you've been watching the whole show, you're gonna love it. But if you're new and you liked anything that you saw tonight, you will probably like it, because we're hitting pretty much every point that we've tried to hit for that show. We're gonna hit all of them in one episode. So it's gonna be a whole heckin' lot.
Yep.
So yeah, Yeah, and that's it for me. I want to say some thank yous. Thank you to Scraticus for the huge raid earlier tonight. Thank you to Wild Engineer, Lord Arctic Frost. I hope I pronounced that right. I'm assuming I did. For the follows, and thank you again to Lord Arctic Frost for the 500 bits earlier tonight. We do have a bit goal here, so that is going toward making a bonus one-shot of Monster of the Week happen on the channel. So thank you so much for everything that you do, whether it's lurking or chatting or just watching this for multiple hours on YouTube. Thank you so much. But most importantly, have a wonderful rest of your night / morning, because it's super late.
Yeah, maybe go to sleep, because I think that's what we're gonna go do.
Yeah. Good night.
Have a
Good
good
night,
night.
everybody.